right, so we're back with the music segment now. We're doing things a little different. We're going to go with the music segment first. And the reason is we thought that maybe you might be wondering why this guy is here. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Or maybe you don't give a shit. You probably don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
But anyway, so we decided for our first guest star we'd have Garrett because we have a I don't know if you'd call it a special relationship. That might sound a little wrong.
Blood type?
So, how I met Garrett is we were actually in a band together. He sang, I played guitar, what?
Sang is a relatively loose term. There was the expectation I was going to be a metal singer. Boy, was he wrong.
Weren't we in a band too? God.
Yeah, but ours
Thanks.
was better,
Thanks.
Yeah, but nobody cares about it. I mean,
Did you cut an album?
Nobody cares about it.
We cut...
If it doesn't exist on an album, it doesn't exist.
A couple of tracks.
So the way
it's
Garrett...
cute when the side chick thinks that they're the real relationship.
Absolutely,
I was the first.
Absolutely.
It's okay. Yeah. I had the last. I got the I got the album.
He was the first, but not the best.
Ooh.
So the way Garrett and I got into a band is it's actually a pretty funny story. Is
Craigslist. Don't answer an ad on Craigslist.
So I met Garrett, talked to him, and basically what he told me was, before that I was just playing pretty straightforward, hard rock music. And I met Garrett, and he said, what I want to do is I just want to play the most hardcore, melt-your-face metal that anybody's ever heard in their life. I just wanted to just kick people in the nuts.
Who the fuck were you talking to?
Because
that sure as shit wasn't me.
Take everybody down a notch and make them realize that they
because this whole font across Steve's chest right here is everything that I'm about. No, fuck all that bullshit. I'm a big believer when it comes to vocalization that there's plenty of pig fucking and screaming that you can do when you're in a metal band. Oh, yeah. I think that there's a good mixture, and that's the reason why I liked Chris as a guitar player from the beginning, because I felt like we had a duality between the singing and the guitar playing, where the talent was there, not only just on the vocals and the guitar, but also with the drums and the bass playing as well, that complemented each other and got to a point where when you heard the song, everybody had that element of what made a good song function better.
Yes, so in other words, I was kidding.
Sorry, I couldn't let
We were the metalheads, and we said, hey, Garrett, you can sing along to this shit, right?
Yeah,
and he's kind of like, yeah. But you know what? Hey, I always told
let's take it to make it good.
I always told the guy, you know what? We want to play crazy-ass melt-your-face-off shit. That's what we want to do. But we want you to bring your own flair to it. And he always had his own ideas. And that's what really made it cool about what we were doing. So if you guys haven't heard our shit, join the fucking club. Nobody else has either. I think maybe he has. That's about it.
About as many people have seen this podcast have actually heard our album, so it's actually it works out really well.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Maybe
you might be stretching it there. You might be stretching it. I think more people have watched this than actually heard our music.
Your album.
But anyway, you can ask Alexa right now to play Fallen Hero. That's thankfully to our bass player.
Very
Rick.
true.
Love you, buddy.
Very true.
That's the only reason why we've had even remotely.
So anyway, that's why he's here. I wanted to have him as a guest star on the show because we had that musical experience together. And
it's the first time a vocalist ever actually was allowed to have a video, actual opinion on camera. So I'm excited to be able to talk for longer than 30 seconds.
Yes, because he hardly had an opinion on the music. As much as I'm trying to dress it up, he didn't have an opinion on the music.
I didn't. I showed up. I was there. I logged calls. It was fun. Kind of like sales.
Hey, somebody had to log calls. I mean, it had to be somebody. So, without further ado, we're getting into our Album of the Month segment.
Oh, yeah.
And we have our buddy here, Garrett, who's going to give us a guess one, but we're going to go with Steve and ours first because that's what we usually do, so we're just going to keep going with that. So, Steve, why don't you go for it?
All right. Well,
and it's kind of far away. I see that.
I can reach over here. My album of the month is a band called Tesseract. Not from the Avengers movie, but it's an actual band called Tesseract, and the album is called One. Now, here's a picture there, right there, if you can see it.
Yeah. It's all black, by the way. You aren't missing anything.
That's a little Tesseract right
dark,
there.
mysterious.
Very mysterious.
You aren't. There's nothing wrong with the video camera. That's actually what it looks like.
Yes. But this band, me and Chris, we went to go see Gojira live.
Another great fucking band.
Very great band. Where did we see him live? Was it the Wiltern or was it the?
Sure.
Sure.
No. It was at the LA Live at the what used to be like
Nokia, right?
Club Nokia,
Club
but now
Nokia?
it's something else.
Something else. Anyway, we went to go see Gojira, and Tesseract was the opening band, and we'd never heard of them. And fucking once they had their set and got off, we're like, holy shit, dude, this band is amazing. So I bought every single album that they have out, and this is their first album that they've ever made, and it is an amazing album. They got a total of I think 11 tracks, but track 3 through 9 or 3 through 8 is actually a 6-part song. It's amazing. It's called Acceptance, Deception, The Impossible, Perfection, Empathy, and Origin, and it's an amazing.
Just in case you want to look them up.
And if you're not a metal douchebag for this actual segment, I will qualify what he's saying, because I remember when Chris told me about Tesseract, I'm like, math rock. Yeah, that sounds great. But they're
kind of a blend between progressive metal and gent music is kind of like the new term everyone's calling it now.
I'm not hip with the lingo. What the hell is gent music?
Yeah, you're losing a lot of people with
gent music.
gent.
No.
Yeah.
That's a new popular metal term now, everyone.
So quantify it, because I'm lost. And
don't try to quantify it,
No.
because it's not really worth quantifying.
Don't worry about it.
Listen to the band. If you like
good.
it, great.
It's good.
But if you love progressive metal, just go with progressive metal.
You're losing more people. It's good music.
Just
fucking listen to it.
The album sonically sounds amazing. And if you buy the album, it comes with a DVD. They do a live studio version of song 3 through 8, and it's just amazing, dude. You got to get this album. This is my album of the month. Check it out.
You know what my favorite Tesseract album is?
This is my favorite Tesseract.
My favorite Tesseract album is Altered State.
Altered State? Yeah, it's a good album too.
Fantastic.
This album though fucking kicks you right in the ass. It kicks you right in the ass.
No, I'm gonna say
That's my album of the month, and we're gonna move on to what Chris's album of the month, which is
I got a special treat for you guys. I know you didn't expect this, right? No. So remember how I mentioned to you about how Garrett wanted to have some face melting metal band, right?
Shameless self-promotion. Shameless self-promotion.
He wanted something that would just kick people in the teeth. So you know what? The rest of us in the band wrote this. It's called Through the Devil's Looking Glass.
2 years later, hey, it's done. I'm like, wow, we didn't wrap that up yet? I'm excited.
It didn't take that long, did it?
It's still in the package.
I'm glad we weren't paying by the hour.
This is what they call mint condition, by the way. Yeah, that's what they call this.
Maybe you had to dust that bitch off.
So you know what? I got a few of these. If you guys want to, order, you can just message us.
Buy now.
Hit us
They're in
up
the
on
box.
YouTube.
They're still in the box, unopened. No, but seriously, if you actually want to hear it, Fallen Hero through the
Go on Alexa and do it for free.
Yes, you can hear it through Spotify, Pandora. You can pretty much anywhere music is streamed. You can hear our band. It's called Fallen Hero. The album is called Through the Devil's Looking Glass. If you actually want to be able to find it, here's the trick. If you actually want to be able to find it, you have to search the band name with the album name together. Otherwise, you might be shit.
97 bands that were also cliched and called it Fallen Hero will also show up as well.
Yes, exactly. So, Fallen Hero, Through the Devil's Looking Glass. I like it a lot. Garrett likes it marginally. Steve likes it somewhat a lot. Anyway, the point is, it's pretty fucking awesome because it's got some great music on it, some great songwriting as far as I'm concerned. Fuck what he thinks. I don't know.
It was the 8th album I actually cut with a band.
And the first good one.
8th album. Wow, this guy's been around a lot.
Firing back.
Shit.
It's different. It's something that I've had a lot of really good guitar players that I've played with throughout the course of my career, and this was the first one where the guitar really told a story. I know it's like the most typical bullshit cliche thing you've ever heard from a musician, but I hadn't had that duality with a guitar player. I mean, probably since high school. David Graham was one of the first guitar players I ever played with, and I think Chris is very similar, and that's a compliment if you don't know David Graham music. Tesseract.com, fantastic musician. And one of the reasons why I got into my album of the month, which I'm going to play, because let's just be serious, they let the guests do whatever the fuck they want.
At least this time. Next episode, we might not.
They might regret it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Tool fan, which
Same here.
Chris calls me a Tool all the time, so I guess it kind of works. But the one that I wanted to showcase was not a Tool album because, let's be serious, they've been replaying Lateralis, I think, since 2003. So I really liked the new A Perfect Circle album, and it was called Eat the Elephant. And the one in particular was By and Down by the River. And I really like this song because since I started as a vocalist, one of the main things that I had always wanted to incorporate with my music, because I'm a huge Doors fan, was the idea of the piano and that different element that it brings to music. So I wanted to play a little bit of this song and have them shit on it the entire time just to see,
We might not shit on it, we might, but hold on.
I'm a fan of Maynard James Keenan.
Before you get into that, though,
Before
you get into that, so you're not a fan of the new Tool album?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's
Why?
the C side of Lateralis. Just like 10,000 Days was like, the pot was cool. I mean, but I never thought Tool as a very huge, like, commercial band. Like, I feel like they cut that album with one single. I remember seeing it live and I was just like, I could do without it. I don't think that, I mean, everybody's super talented in the band. I know they went through some legal struggles as far as the albums were concerned, but I thought it was just literally kind of shat out for all intents and purposes. Maynard, I mean, I don't know what it is, my affinity of singers that are under 5'5", but every, I've been a huge...
But see, that's a fairly unpopular opinion because the new Tool album has gotten a lot of really great praise, and the fans seems to really like it a lot.
Sure, but have you ever met a Tool fan that was like, wow, that sucks? Like,
Not really too
And
much.
see, honestly, I think that's kind of the problem, is because I feel like that there's not... I feel like that they're just kind of sold on everything they do, and I'm not a Tool fan, full disclosure. No. But I like moments of Lateralis,
Sure.
the album you're talking about, but there's moments where I feel like it drags, and I feel like it has trouble getting out of the starting gate with songs. And
You thought Lateralis did?
yes,
Interesting, because I would argue that Lateralis is the last Tool album where you could play start to finish and not have to turn it off.
I just feel like a lot of the groove is lost. One of the things I really liked about
You and your
early...
tribal fucking music. I know what
No, not tribal. No, see, that's the problem. Is I feel like it's too tribal.
Yeah.
Is there's too
I
much?
agree with that
There's
one.
too
Yeah,
many
it's too
tom
much,
rolls,
yeah.
right? It's too many.
Which, I mean, come on.
It never just gets going and settles into a groove and moves
But
forward.
if you want that, just read his shirt. You got plenty of that shit out there.
No,
Like,
no.
I don't know. I don't agree with you.
Stop it. Stop it. So, but the point is that Lateral. I still like the album, but overall, there's moments of it where I feel like it could move forward a little bit more instead of staying in place and circling around this tom fill. You know and I'm saying toms. It's drums. It's a drum fill that on the toms that kind of loops and loops and loops and loops. But anyway, without getting too technical, the new Tool album, for example. Sure. Okay, I like elements of it, and it is enjoyable in parts. But there's other parts where I kind of feel like they're falling into that same pattern, and that's the only thing that I would say is that sometimes they fall into that pattern where it just gets a little repetitive and kind of looping around the same kind of fill beat instead of just falling into a groove and just going and getting the song going forward progression like a freight train, that just locks into a groove and kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of slaps you in the face a little bit and kind of hits you like some older Tool songs that kind of just hits you and kind of go.
I did see them live in January, and
I did too.
They
were great.
They were great. They played like 4 or 5 songs from the new album, and they sounded a lot better than the album. And I really enjoyed the live experience from Tool. And Maynard's just freaking like a crazy motherfucker up there on stage doing like a mohawk shit. And
all that being said, I'm really
in the new Tool album. Translates live pretty good.
Really?
It's pretty good, yeah.
All that being said, I'm really interested to hear what you had to play from Perfect Circle here because it is different and it is kind of a different realm from me. You mentioned piano. I feel like piano is something you would never hear in Tool. And for
that
being
was the whole point, though.
But for being what most people classify as a progressive band, you would think Tool would have piano in there, but they're progressive rhythmically. They're not necessarily progressive melodically, and that's kind of what loses me sometimes.
Well, I think it's a good point to establish the stage between it, though, because a lot of Tool fans don't like A Perfect Circle. They think that A Perfect Circle and Pussifer took away from the main project. So you almost kind of look at Maynard's career as a 3-stage progressive. So let me just add to the fact that I think Tool fans are obnoxious in ways that
I would agree with you on that.
Misfit fans are the same level of obnoxiousness.
Wait,
without
Misfits?
Hold on, I'm bringing it all
You're
together.
bringing it all together. I hope so, because that's...
I know.
There's a lot of ground to cover.
Beyond his haircut here, the only thing we're driving together here in the class. But I loved the way that Danzig created a lot of his melodies. But I think that Misfit fans are just as annoying as Tool fans because of the... Oh, well, that didn't sound like that when they played it live. I was playing it. It's just, I was in a Misfits cover band for years, and I loved it. It was some of the best experiences that I've had playing with a band that wasn't playing original music. But at the same time, like, you'd hear the fans after, that was obnoxious. You're way too tall to be Danzig. You know what? Go fuck yourself for a second, okay? I get it. Every singer
Danzig is like...
You don't look like him. What the fuck?
I look like I ate Danzig and I'm his ego. Like, it's not one of those situations where, I love singing like him. I love the dynamic of that low baritone and the raw energy. And that's what Maynard brought as well. Not so much in the baritone because his range was super excessive. But the one thing that I liked about A Perfect Circle, the different dynamic, the element of I felt like he could do something different than what that element of Tool could allow. A lot of really good players, and yes, they have changed a little bit over the years. But the song I wanted to show, I remember... Because there's a big drought for A Perfect Circle where they were going through legal battle with Tool, and the gap between albums as far as 13 Step was just drastic. And I remember,
it's bigger than the Tool gap.
I think they did put out...
He was working on Pussifer for a long time.
Yeah, he did.
I can't fucking stand.
Didn't they put out Imagine, the fucking covers album?
That really bad political album that they came out with fucking 6 months to a year late. Yeah, it was not good.
No.
And again, I don't want to turn this into a political thing because that's I think where a lot of people get lost as far as music. But I wanted to play the song. The song, when I heard it,
let's hear it.
I heard it live the first time. And it's grown on me. And I think that's what any good album should do. The first time you hear it, if you get it the first time, it's almost like you weren't listening clear enough. So every time I hear it, I take a little bit away from it. So this is an example of the song that we're going to play right now. This is off of Eat the Elephant, and this is Buying Down the River.
Buying Down the River, all right. Kick back and join my band.
Again, I feel like a progressive band should have this kind of stuff in it. Anyway, right?
Dream Theater.
Well, it's Dream Theater, but I mean,
it's the problem with that Iron Maiden type-esque band where you have it's the singer. The singers is what throws me off with a lot of progressive bands.
Moving in and out of the shadow. It's no easy mission. Holding on to how I picture you.
This is what I love about playing music with Chris, because he allowed me opportunities to sing at a point that wasn't stepping on his portion of the music as well. And when you heard it together, like, we had literal moments of just like, whoa.
yes.
That's why you gotta get this.
Some of it's good. Some of it's just like, what are you drinking? Jones.
Showing only a bit and pieces to the light betray you and your empty elocution.
So, without pausing this, but you see what I mean about locking into a beat? Because if I feel like if this was a Tool song, it would be Tom Phil's. No, seriously,
I agree with you.
and they do that too much. That's what drives me off.
Searching your eyes for
I think
the
that's what drove me nuts was that a vocalist driving the song. Because I think that's a lot of fun.
Just that.
Searching your eyes for a hint or a trace. I've been searching your eyes for humility. Searching your eyes for a hint or a trace.
So one thing I want to say about progressive music is the problem with progressive music as a whole is the term progressive is that progressive by definition means that it's moving things forward, right? Sure. It's doing things that haven't been done before, and unfortunately that's not really the case. Most progressive bands, whether it be Pink Floyd or Dream Theater you mentioned, or I can go into a long list of progressive metal bands. I want to get there because it'll piss them off. But they're not really doing any new. They're not doing anything differently. It's a feel. Mm-hmm. It is an emotion and a feel that you get from it, where they incorporate outside things, they incorporate folk music, they incorporate different elements that you wouldn't normally hear in music. Or I'm sorry, not in music, but in that genre of music.
You're not wrong though, because I think when you hear progressive nowadays, it's almost kind of like a negative connotation where
yes.
It's like that scenester, like if it's not progressive, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yes.
Like I hate that shit, and that's the reason why. And I'm going to sound like every other musician here. Our music sounds like nothing you've ever heard. It has.
Yes,
we've copied 6 of our favorite bands.
Absolutely.
It's all on that album. Mm-hmm. You want to list of the bands? Let us know. But hopefully it speaks to you.
But the point is that there's, you could even call something like this progressive because of the elements that it's adding into it.
Sure.
Right? So it doesn't mean that there's some complex off-time tom fill on the drums that's filling up space, which is what I feel like Tool does a lot of times, which is what bothers me, because it never locks into a solid beat like this where it's just going and there's a motion to it and there's a forwardness to it that drives the song into a direction. And that's important, right? In all forms of progressive music,
it is.
The song is moving into a direction. It's not stalled into an area where it's just like, okay, they're doing a fill here, and it's eventually going to get somewhere, but then it never really does, because it's just more fills and more fills and more fills and more rolls and more rolls and more rolls. And unfortunately, again, I don't want to turn this into a I hate Tool thing, because I don't. There's plenty of their songs that I like. There's songs on Lateralist where I can give examples where they didn't do that, right? Where it followed what I'm saying and it kind of drove the song forward and got into a groove. But there are times when I feel like they just lock into that mold of where, like, we're just going to roll and kind of just get into this tribal beats, and it's just going to go into this, twist into that, and it never actually goes into just a solid, nice groove with stuff and melodies going on in the background and harmonies and whatever else you can push into it that drives the song into a certain direction.
But I'd argue that's kind of the point why, I mean, as a singer, and I hear this all the time, where singers want to do second, third, and fourth projects with shit. I couldn't even imagine doing that right now, but you get to a certain point where, like, you've had the same brand, and it's almost like an expectation from your fans, where it's a, I'm going to play this way, and we're going to sing this song, and it's going to sound like the brand we've created, where, you know, Maynard, although, and I've heard him talk, I mean, I like some of his philosophies. As a younger man, I really kind of connected with it, but now it just, you know, it sounds like more pretentiousness more than anything else, because, you know, there's a certain brand that he was really good at, and Tool delivered on that. He did Pussifer and A Perfect Circle, and there were all elements of where, you know, and that's the biggest thing is, I hate the definitions of what kind of genre it is. It's more along the lines of, I can legitimately think of songs where it takes me back to moments in my life that, you know, whether it be relationships or friendships or things that have occurred where it'll instantaneously bring you back there, and you know exactly what you were thinking, what you were feeling, and that's when I know. I feel like
that's what art should do in a nutshell.
That's what
You're right.
art does.
I agree.
That's what music does.
I don't think it's a progressive thing at a certain point. I think it's more along the lines of, does the music speak to you? Because, I mean, there's plenty of fanboy shit that you hear on the radio nowadays where it's just like, I mean, yeah, sure, it takes you back, but was it for the right reasons?
Yeah.
So
that's why we love writing music. But,
sorry to interrupt the song with a big giant tangent, but anyway, let's hear the rest of it.
Let's go.
Betrayed you and your empty elocution.
Broke into a mean Tool riff right here. Sick.
I agree.
So, and that's just something I'm missing from Tool. Is that
I'm missing it for Tool for 2 albums. So, I mean, again, Fear Inoculum was a great album.
Tempest.
It is. But again, you have that one song now. It's the 1 or 2 songs. It's not like, wow, that album was really great. I would agree with you. The only thing I didn't like about this album,
I just like the way it builds and it's constructed.
they did one song that was which I was just like, legitimately was like, huh? Alright, I get it. We're getting older, trying to connect with the young crowd.
I know. It's the harmony. Harmony line. There's a... I'll wait till it goes.
And that's the thing. I would argue I'm more a Maynard fan than I am a fan of all of the bands that he's been in. This is something I can take away from each, but, you know, this is just, I love the way he vocalizes.
I'm a big Corey Taylor fan, but I'm not a fan too much of Slipknot or Stone Sour the music. You know, I'm a big Corey Taylor fan. That's kind of like what you are. You're a big James Maynard fan, but
Maynard
not
James,
too
Maynard James.
Maynard. James Maynard fan.
Well,
So
but
the beers
think
in
about,
deep.
but think about Corey Taylor. I remember reading an article where it was like, is Stone Sour the end of Slipknot? Where but there were some people who were legitimately worried.
When they
And I
first
remember
started,
hearing
yeah.
it was just like,
Yeah.
God damn, that guy's got a fucking great voice.
He's it's not the voice, it's more of the stage presence. Like if you see
but that
either
shouldn't be
band, he has this awesome stage presence.
So-
He has this connection to the crowd, which is amazing. You don't get that too much in a
So
frontman.
the people
as
that were
much.
worried about that, they didn't realize that Slipknot sucks.
Sorry.
You're not gonna argue that with me. I thought Slipknot was pretty bad too.
Chris can eat a dick.
But again,
hey,
so
if
we're
that's the
talking about-
alternative to listening to Slipknot, I'll take a dick any day.
A lot of metal sucks, so we're just gonna throw that all in
No,
the same
hold
general
on. Easy, Rod. Let's not lump Slipknot in with a lot of metal.
No.
Slipknot sucks. There's plenty of good metal out there besides Slipknot. Woo! Calm down. Anyway, so let's go back to your bullshit Maynard James Keenan song.
Wow, I think I struck a nerve.
That you did, Romeo.
Oh,
so
shit.
anyway,
I like this song. It was good.
I did. I like it. But
I like
you know, here's something I gotta say. My last bag on Tool moment, and I don't want to make it. A lot of this may seem like I'm a Tool hater, and you might be right. No, but there really are some Tool songs that I like a lot. I mean, I'm not going to list them here because who cares? It doesn't matter what songs by Tool I like. It really doesn't matter. But the point is that when people talk about Tool being progressive, and I listen to their music, and I'm like, okay, in some ways it's progressive rhythmically, but it really leaves a lot to be desired in some areas. Like, for example, the simple fucking vocal harmony that they did there.
Yeah, sure.
Something very simple.
And it's catchy,
That's
too,
something
almost.
like Alice in Chains,
Yeah,
for example,
yeah.
does all the time.
Yeah.
I agree.
That you don't hear in Tool songs very much. You just don't. It's Tool songs tend to be very dry and kind of monotone. They may be very progressive rhythmically.
I would argue newer Tool is maybe like that, but a lot of the
like
older
older
Tool,
stuff, yeah.
And again, the older stuff was better. I mean, don't get me started.
I mean, I like a lot of the older Tool. I mean, that's what I gravitate towards.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go Tool wise, I tend to cut off at about half of Lateralist. Some of it connects with me, some of it doesn't. Before that,
I'm going to shoot
more
my point though
Tool
for a
connects
second
with me.
because I would argue, and a band you never would have thought I'd bring out as far as Tool is concerned, but Incubus is in the same kind of. Oh, I know. Go ahead, cleanse your palate for a second, boys.
Stop.
But
Stop it. Stop it.
Incubus, up and through, I would say the Morning View album, It's a similar kind of dynamic. Look at that, they're both grabbing for the beer, trying to wash the horrible taste out of their mouth.
I think Chevelle has far more in common with Tool.
I
than
agree with
Incubus
that.
does.
Yeah. Oh my
Yes.
god.
I mean, have you heard Incubus?
Oh.
And yeah, it was fantastic. I'm a big Brandon Boyd fan.
Why? He's a whiny bitch.
But he's talented though.
He's talented at being whiny.
Well,
Anyway.
there have been a lot of albums since then as far as Morning View is concerned.
I don't know. I think this segment went long enough.
Yeah. You might be right.
Holy shit.
I think this is good for the music segment, right?
Yeah,
It's-
you guys are watching still, right? Yeah. Make sure you click like or hit like and subscribe to this channel.
Hey, you know what? If you haven't heard about our social media yet, Steve's here to tell you about
I'm
it.
here to tell you
Steve?
about it. Ready? Make sure you like and subscribe our channel on YouTube, please. Like us on Instagram at Beer Night, whatever it is. Twitter.
Get plenty of followers.
And whatever,
Beer night, whatever it is.com.
We'll
And
post
whatever
some
you do-
photos.
whatever you do,
What are we doing?
Don't listen to Incubus.
avoid Incubus.
Oh my god.